there's one thing we've been a little bit guilty of over the past few years on the show, it's been ignoring the abundance of opportunities for adventure in the North Island. So this week, we're setting about trying to remedy that by heading on a spearfishing mission to pretty much as far north as New Zealand gets. And no, we're not talking about Cape Reinga, we're heading much further afield. For this massive undertaking, I'll be joined by a few familiar faces who've made the mission north from their bases in the south. Central Otago's Anto Hall and Dan Curley, plus Nelsonians Tim Barnett and Sam Wild. Together with Garmin's Kieran Andrews and a few salty sea dogs representing the Marine North crew from Whangarei, we'll be teaming up with Nat Davey and Rochelle Potter, who between them hold numerous men's and women's spearfishing national and world records. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves with this talk of world records, there's a fair bit of groundwork that needs to take place.
What are you up to?
Just replacing the old rubbers. It's been a couple of years since I've done these ones, and I just don't want to. Don't want
No excuses.
No. Oh, there'll be excuses. I'll find a few, but rubber won't be one of them.
There's a real buzz of excitement as both fishing and spearfishing contingents get stuck into prepping for the day ahead. There's also a real buzz coming from the local mosquito population, who've got the reputation of being some of the most aggressive in the country.
Early start tomorrow, is it?
Early, yeah. 3:30 I think the boys said they'll get the boat in. So I'm not even sure if that's morning yet. So just to take advantage of the high tide, but we'll get an early fish in.
With a few hours sleep under their belts, it's time for the rod and reel fishermen to launch the Stavey 2750 centre cab, and it's going to be a team effort.
Well, really early start, it's 3:30. There's a reason behind that. We've got a high tide, so the water's come up, which means we're actually able to launch this really big vessel here.
Got the 2750 Stavey in the water. Well, feels like all the Egyptians, we've got all the boys pushing. But we're floating and we're going down at high tide 1 minute ago.
Way to start the day, Curly?
Yeah, it's not textbook.
Luckily for the team, the big Stavey is able to float with just a minimal amount of water under it. And with little fuss, the lads are soon through the breakers and are punching northwards at a rate of knots. It's gentlemen's hours for the spearfishing squad. We've got the luxury of waiting out the low tide to launch our two slightly smaller Staveys.
I had a big day ahead. Bit of a rough night last night with the Mozzies, so yeah, got to fuel up and get into it.
Our first order for business for us, Spearos, is to get the boats in the water. Beach launching today, so hopefully there's no hang-ups, but we'll see how we go.
Last time up at Coromandel with Julian, we had a stonker of a trip out. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a good session.
Yeah, and sort of got a lot of good feedback off it as well. People want to see more spearfishing, so yeah, thought we might as well target a bigger kingy than what Julian got. And yeah, what was that, 32 kilos, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was something like that.
There's only one place in New Zealand where you come for that, so yeah, heading up the Kings. Nat Davey, who we're going with, he's got the world record at the moment. How big is it? 50.6. 50.6 kilos, so an absolute monster. So yeah, unlikely we'll break the record, but you never know. We're in the right place and with the right man, I suppose, anyway. First things first, launched the boat. We found a little eddy here, a little calm spot, so we're going to, a bit of a hole, we're going to drop in there and spin the boats around, head on out and into it.
May seem like a pretty relaxed start to the day, but as anyone that's ever attempted a beach launching in a remote location or a test, it can be a pretty stressful exercise. We need to work fast once the boats are in the water to spin the bow into the swell to prevent any rogue waves from swamping the cockpit. Once we're all aboard, it's time for the skipper to pick the moment between the sets of waves and punch through the white water. The golden rule is to never find yourself side onto a breaking wave, but with experienced beach launcher Rochelle at the helm, we make light work of the mid-sized swell and we're soon well through the danger zone.
Here's the snorkel out, Sam.
That's going to give the Amarok a bit of a drowning by the sounds of it. up to the running boards. That's what they're good for. All good? Yep. Hold on. Right, fire it up. So the boys are just going to hang on to it in a minute and the rip will swing the front of us around. And then everyone will jump on and we're off. And that's just quickly parking the truck. He's going to run down the beach. Quite a bit of rip there, eh?
Yeah.
So yeah, Kieran's anchoring the corner. We're just swinging around with a rip. All good?
Right, everybody, 3 points of contact.
You want them broken like this so they're not so big, but you're just, yeah, backing off. You never want to punch into them fast. Just as long as you stay straight. Yeah.
Maybe.
A couple of more goodies. Yeah, you just back off the throttle and let it take you over. Whoa, greenie. Right, another one. Big Kingy off the bow. Get the gun. Right, now we've got a bit of calm. You can boost forward. There we go. Oh, we've got a couple of greenies. It's always the nervous time going through those, isn't it?
Always wear your life jacket.
Yep. Sweet as, see you out there.
So with going to the Three Kings, you've got to make sure you've got the best setup you can possibly have. You've got to have all the safety equipment. For us, if you're going up there in a 60-footer, you want to have pretty much the same safety equipment, but except a life raft on your small boats. So as a commercial fisherman for 25 years, and I know the ocean and I know what it can throw at you, so you have to be prepared for everything. And we've got to shake our heads. We're seeing boats up there these days under 5 metres, and it's just not safe. It's just not a place you go playing. It's a great place to go and experience, and I'd love everyone to go and see it because it's a gem that New Zealand has. But we've just got to be so careful with what's actually happening up there these days, and some of the idiots that do go up are really pushing the limits, and we are going to see a major accident in the near future, I would say.
After close to 2 hours steaming, we finally reach our destination, the legendary Three Kings, a group of 13 uninhabited islands 35 miles northwest of Cape Reinga, at the convergence point of the South Pacific Ocean and Tasman Sea. The islands are home to many rare and unique plants and animals, but we're not interested in what's on the land. We're here for the leviathans that lurk in the King's deep, clear waters.
Just chucking down the anchor. Yeah, found a good spot. There's quite a few trevally and stuff like that busting up against the shore. Nat's got a boat out here crayfishing, and this morning they saw heaps of kingies from here around the point, smashing bait fish and that. So yeah, they've got to be holed up somewhere, hopefully in this bay. But yeah, we'll go search for them later when the tide starts ripping a bit more.
Up here at the Kings, it's one of the very few places in the world, it's probably the only place in the world, where you'll find golden snapper in real shallow water. They're normally a deep water little beastie, but you can get them right up in 2 or 3 metres of water. Yeah, it's just one of those special things.
Yeah, well, the thing with goldies is on mainland New Zealand they've had a bit of a hammering, I suppose. So if you come up to a place like this, I've already shot goldies, so I'm not going to bother this trip. I don't really need a ticket off anymore, so we're just going to get guys like Dre who haven't shot one before to shoot their first, and then yeah, leave them alone after that. I'm a bit of a slow starter today, last in the water, but and we snoop around and see what we can find. Apparently there's the odd nice snapper up here too, so won't be turning down one of them. Oh, it's blue. It's real blue.
The first thing that strikes you once you dip below the surface is the abundance of life, including clouds of krill being feasted upon by throngs of seabirds and teeming schools of trevally. But with the tide not really running yet, it's more just a chance for the team to get their iron and confidence up before the main event to come later in the day. The first fish in my crosshairs is the highly sought after golden snapper, although I quickly discover those crosshairs of mine may need a bit more fine tuning. Nat, on the other hand, is taking it all in his stride. Relaxed and confident on the bottom, he's able to bide his time and wait for the goldie to come within range before plugging it with expert precision through the head and gill plate, in the process not wasting any of the tasty fillet. Whilst I continue my hunt for a goldie, Tim's tasked with securing a bit of sashimi for lunch. And there are a few fish that taste better when eaten raw than the trevally, so he drops down into the large schools that have been patrolling the deeper water off the weed edge to see if he can deliver the goods. Sure enough, he's able to put his spear through a good sized fish, but he's careful not to put too much pressure on. Chirelli are hard fighting fish with a soft flesh that a spear can easily pull through, so Tim allows the fish a bit of time to tire itself out, which has the added bonus of potentially enticing a predatory kingfish in for a closer look at what's causing the commotion. With that being said, it's also just as likely to attract in somewhat less desirable predators, so after giving the Trev time to tire, Tim swims down and demobilises the fish by grabbing it securely around the tail before dispatching it with his knife.
Yeah, he's got a massive full head on him. He's one of the bigger ones out of the school, so quite happy with that. It'll be the biggest Trev I've shot. Definitely a tasty big fish, isn't it? Yeah, it's often good to bleed them in the water. It's not a real sharky spot. Bleed them out and you fill it through a lot better. Oh, nice fish.
Oh, well done, Timmy.
Yeah, he's bigger than I thought actually. I was checking my aim. Just thought I'd take one, make sure I'm spot on before we go after the kingies, and stuck to that.
Bigger than your average Trev, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely had a bit the biggest I've shot.
Bit of sashimi for tonight. We should get him in that chili bin and ice down.
Yeah, good stuff.
Whilst Tim and Nat seem to have things dialed, it's not going well for both myself
I am shocked, right?
or our cameraman.
Oh, the drone went down.
Oh, I saw that.
Losing our eye in the sky to a case of bird strike.
Bugger, right?
But I'm determined not to waste this once in a lifetime opportunity to nail a golden snapper on spear. And with a bit of persistence, I finally managed to get a pin through one.
Yeah, a rookie Spearo like me to be able to come to a place like this and shoot something like that, it's crazy. Woo!
Awesome colours, eh? Bright.
Yeah, I'm wrapped with that. These are normally living in deeper water, so to shoot one at my depth range is pretty cool.
As big as your first snapper as well, isn't it?
Yep, definitely. Look at that.
That got a nice goldie as well. Real beauty.
Ooh, nice. Good as, well done.
That's Nat's one. I literally missed him twice.
We're going to head around the other side, go and dive a bit of current. There's one a kingy.
That's good.
We'll go receive the other guys.
Other boys out there by the looks. We just found the boys after the morning. It's lunchtime, I think. Any luck?
Yeah, good luck, mate. We've filled up a bin, so we won't be going hungry.
Oh yeah, sweet as.
Hey,
Oh, that's a thumper.
see live, mate, still alive.
All good. Oh, can we go and jump in and see if we can find a kingy, yeah?
So we're going to hop in here and drift down with the tide, just drift down around the corner. We put our hands up, means boat in quick.
Just be aware because we have seen lots of big sharks here before.
Sweet as. Sounds good. Bit of safety at currenty places like this. Pays to have a safety sausage with you, so we're each running one. Every single diver that's in the water for this. Yeah, put a bit of air into it, drop it under the water, and it sticks way up in the air. It sticks out like, yeah, dog's balls.
As Tim descends, a few large kingfish can be seen keeping a respectful distance from him, slightly beyond shooting range. Tim's got a few tricks up his sleeve though, and uses a couple of tactics in an attempt to coax them in. The first being a grunt. When this has no effect, he changes his shape by curling into a ball to try and pique the kingy's innate curiosity to come in and investigate this strange critter in the water. Eventually, one of the kings decides to come in for a closer look. But Tim decides it's not quite big enough to warrant taking a shot. Our aim for this mission is to top 32 kilos, and in this clear water, it can be hard to differentiate between a 30 kilo fish and a 40 kilo specimen. So Tim wants to make sure it's an absolute thumper before he pulls the trigger. A short time later though, when a much larger king swims within range of Tim's spear. Tim's task now is to keep enough pressure on the fish to stop it from getting to the bottom and busting the shooting line off on the sharp reef below. But he's right at the end of his breath hold, so he needs to get to the surface quick smart, or he risks blacking out. By the time he hits the surface, the big kingfish is still full of go, charging about the place looking for somewhere to free itself of the trailing line.
Got under a rock. You lost the fish. It went
guns were a rock, busted them off, so the gun's stuck down there over the rock still, so he's just had to go get it.
A bit of a shame really. I went down on a dive and this good kingy came up, but it's very hard to judge their size, how big they are, so it's just, he came up and I could have shot him quite easily for a start. And broadside on, and it wasn't until he started going away I saw the girth of him, and I was like, here's a good fish. And then I had a shot, it was in sort of midships back towards his tail, which is a good holding shot, but I was trying to pull him away from the reef on the way up, and I sort of ran out of breath, and he hooked into the rocks, didn't he? And then just
right under it.
Yeah, went right in underneath the rock and just smashed off straight away. So just trying my hardest to pull him out, but
He beat your shaft.
Yeah, bent shaft.
So it's strike one for Tim and Rochelle. Over with Nat and cameraman Sam, they're dealing with a slightly different kind of problem. An overabundance of fish to choose from, which makes selecting one worthy of shooting a tough proposition. Three Kings is famous for scenes such as these, where the vortex of large kingfish create a swirling mass of potential targets. But you don't become the world record holder by getting too carried away and wasting time with these 15 to 20 kilo models. That being said, I'm not one to look a gift horse in the mouth, so I descend into the whirlpool of yellowtails to try and achieve another first.
We've heard screams through snorkels.
What's that saying, bro?
Oh, I have no idea, but it got them really excited.
Story, boys.
Race this one, small kingy.
That's a good shot.
Woohoo!
How big you reckon?
It's hard to say, it's still miles away, but it's a good size.
Yeah.
There's a reasonable fish out of a massive school.
Sweet.
Get it up as quick as you can, Trey. Nice, Trey.
Oh yeah. The first kingy, wrapped. I'm stoked. That was awesome, hell of a fight. Man, there was heaps of them down there. It was unreal to have the school just sitting right around you. Yeah, that was cool. I'll never forget that. That was unbelievable.
Despite the commotion of one of their mates being shot, the large school of kingies seem unaffected, so Tim drops down to see if there are any outliers in the group that might be pushing the 30 kilo mark.
There's a massive school of kingies, but not as big as the ones we've been seeing. So.
Out of the corner of his eye, Tim spots a school of much larger fish on the periphery of the initial school, and one fish in particular looks to be in a class of its own. It seems to be a solid shot, penetrating near the top of the fish's back. But Tim's already learned the hard way that the job is far from done once the trigger's been pulled, so he puts as much pressure on as he can during the ascent to try and keep the fish from busting him off on the bottom once again.
What story?
Yeah, shot a big fish, but I've shot him too high really. But he's a nice fish, come through in a school of quite a few of them. Just let me find him.
Where's your float?
Oh, it disappeared. He's a nice fish, he's fat. Karen, I might need another gun. Rig one up quick and I may need a second shot.
Is this considered cheating, putting a second shot in?
Not at all. Rather land your fish than lose it and have another one swim away wounded. So yeah, just as long as you load the gun yourself, the second shot, hey, it's just insurance to make sure it happens.
A lot of sharks here. Spec gun ready?
Yep, whenever you're ready.
It's tiring out. Yeah, I'm just not sure about the shot. Unslip that. Yeah, let it ride out.
Oh, amazing. It's just pulled that float 10 metres under. I can see it coming up again. It's obviously a solid fish. Pulling that float way under, it's fighting really, really, really hard. You won't see a 20 kilo fish pull a float under like that, so fingers crossed. So there's big dangers when you've got big fish. We've got a lot of line in the water. You can get a loop wrapped around your wrist, you can get a loop wrapped around your snorkel, around your leg, and you can see the power in this fish here. Pulling that float under, it's going to be nothing to pull a guy like me or Tim underwater. So you've got to be really careful of your line management. Oh, and there's the taxman, yeah. So we're at the Kings. It's known for big sharks. You've got the odd bronzy, mostly Marcos, and then the odd great white here as well. So that fish is putting out those distress signals. Could mean the taxman turns up, but once again, let's hope not.
Given the time and ferocity that the fish has been fighting, as well as the precarious position of the shot, Tim is desperate to get a second holding shot at the fish as soon as possible, so makes a deep descent to over 20 metres to drill it at close range. With the second spear secure, the risk of losing the fish is now greatly reduced.
And real quick with his,
Sweet, really good holding shot. The first shot is actually holding really well. So the second one's just stuffed him just to make sure, but yeah, I'll just reef him in now. There's a little bit blue in the face apparently coming up after that one.
Oh mate, that's another thing you got to watch out for here, you know, pushing your limits as well, just going that extra bit to get that big fish. Always, like we have here, got to have your buddy watching you. You know, they're a guardian angel.
Good fish, eh?
In this clear, deep water, it's often not till the fish is near the surface that you can appreciate its true size. And this one's an absolute horse. Exactly what we've come for.
Oh yeah!
Can't even get him out of the water. Well done, mate. Yeah. Oh, cheers. And it came in a massive school, eh? There was heaps of them there. Yeah. So I was like, wow, look at it, it's that school again. I thought it was the last school, and I was like, oh, sweet as, and I was just watching them. And then he was there. I was like, holy I'm going to put a spear in him.
Yeah. Well done, mate. That second shot
See where it
was
went
a
in?
long way down.
It's a horse. Oh, it's a horse.
Dolphin, isn't it?
Got the big dog. Yeah. She's a beauty.
That is a tank.
Gotta be stoked with that. What? Oh, man.
Oh, it looks even bigger out of the water. That's insane.
I'm gonna go bang on 40.
Bang on 40. Oh! There's definitely a bit of weight there, eh? Well, we come here to beat 32. I think we might have just done that, eh?
Work, mate. Wicked fish.
Oh.
What's next on the agenda there, Sam?
We found a nice school of goldies out in a crack in the wash. I haven't pole speared many fish before, but Nat reckons I can have a go on his one. So first fish on the pole spear Cherokee, second fish golding. Fingers crossed.
Pole spears increase the degree of difficulty once again, as they require you to really get close up and personal with your prey. Unlike a spear gun, you create tension on the pole by gripping the stretched rubber with your hand against the shaft, and fire simply by releasing your grip. There are a range of spearheads that can be used, including 3-barb tridents and slip tips. One benefit of a pole spear is that reloading takes a fraction of the time of a regular gun, and with fewer moving parts, there's much less that can go wrong. Whilst tempted to give the pole spear a crack, I'm happy to stick with the trusted spear gun, and I'm pretty chuffed with myself after doubling my lifetime tally of golden snapper with another tasty specimen.
Yeah, a couple of goldies on the pole spear.
Job done.
Been a cracker of a day, isn't it? Alright. Powers?
Oh, without a doubt.
As with most things at the Kings, the paua here are also supersized, and the team have little trouble gathering enough for a few good meals. Searching the cracks and boulders also gives us the chance to explore the interesting looking cave, which is holding an incredible number of bait fish, thick clouds of them that block the light from above. But the cave is also home to something that catches our eye. A large number of relatively intact paper nautilus shells, something that none of us have ever encountered before. A few minutes later, we discover the source of the shells, and we stumble right into the midst of a once-in-a-lifetime event.
What do you see?
Oh, just heaps of picnics filled up, really.
Heaps of pink mau, pigs of belly cruising around.
Actual paper nautilus! They were swimming along! That was unreal!
We've dropped into a scenario that's rarely ever been witnessed in New Zealand waters, a congregation of paper nautilus, or to call them by their correct name, argonauts.
I broke it. Be very careful with it. I just broke that one, but they're scooting along with the fish after them.
Okay.
That was out of it. Take it on and have a look at the squid.
These curious critters are a specialised group of pelagic octopus who use their shells to trap surface air to allow themselves to maintain buoyancy in the water column.
Good bit of live bait, surely.
Surely.
Oh, isn't it? Amazing. Little sucker. They're not like an octopus, that's what he's left behind.
A little bit of
Oh, that's his roe.
The fragile shells are also used to hold a massive eggs. So all the argonauts seen here are female. The male argonaut is quite tiny and doesn't produce a shell, although within each of these female argonauts there exists a small male component, the hectocotylus, which is one of the male's arms that also doubles as a penis and is snapped off during sex and then stays inside the female's body for reproductive purposes. The argonauts seem willing to abandon their shells to swim freely, looking much more like a squid in style, perhaps as a last-ditch defence mechanism when they're being attacked. Argonauts are sometimes referred to as living fossils, having survived millions of years relatively unchanged, despite a number of mass extinctions taking place. Although it's hard to see how they've been so resilient when they seem to be so susceptible to predation from a wide range of fish species present. For now though, we're just happy to be witness of this remarkable event, enjoying the spectacle and the opportunity to swim amongst these alien creatures.
So this is the little squid that came out of them. Now they actually had a thin film that was covering this, so they were a purpley colour. Really sort of, oh, that'll be it there. See that there? So that covered the whole thing. Oh, they are too. And then as soon as they were disturbed, they'd suck back into their shell to hide. So yeah, quite unreal. So you'll see some on there, quite purple colour, eh?
Most insane dive I've had in my entire life.
That was unreal, wasn't it?
Hands down. Sharks, trevally, kingfish, just everywhere, and everything's just massive. The poor paper nautilus are just getting smashed by everything. Even the blue mau we're having a crack in.
Yeah.
With the excitement of our argonaut encounter out of the way, it's time to get back to the job at hand. And for Nat, that means nailing a monster kingfish. So it's time to break out the big gun.
Amazing amount of fish life.
Now there's a big fish down there.
My eardrum's playing up a little bit, so I'm Star Navigator. Navigating on Star.
Man, we've got 200 kingfish underneath us right now. Unreal. All the way up to 30, 35 kilos.
It's like 100 or 200 kingfish in a big school. There's some big ones in amongst them, all sizes.
current starts to really crank, Tim heads in closer to the rocks, attracted by the abundance of fish, which make diving here almost like swimming in an aquarium. In fact, a large number of specimens on show at the world-renowned Kelly Tarleton's aquarium originally came from the Three Kings, as it was one of the favourite haunts of Kelly and his band of adventurers. Another relatively rare sight for the Three Kings catches Tim's eye, a solitary snapper swimming by.
Oh man, that's just awesome. A bloody good solid snapper from up here. Oh, this place is unreal.
Especially those barcos underneath.
Is there markers down there?
Yeah, little barcos. Oh,
wicked.
with that cut.
I saw quite a few sharks, but I didn't see a marker yet.
Yeah.
That's cool. She's action, man! This is incredible! This place is absolutely nuts! Check it out! We were talking about it, Dave! We've got a good snapper! Oh, one end of the country to the other, eh? We were talking about it. How tinny! No, so we were in that bit where the goldies and that are. And Sam went down for a dive and he saw this good snapper down there. So I breathed up, went down after him, and sure enough he was still sitting there. I just got him in the distance, he got a bit spooked to me. He pulled out just as I grabbed him. So lucky I got him.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, someone stoned a good kickie. I'm not sure which one of them.
You right, mate?
Really good. I thought I had Timmy beat horse,
fish,
but it's
mate.
not the one that I thought it was going to be. Can we just get on? We're in a bit of a bad place.
You want to dodge a bit of water here, team?
Yeah, look, the rest of the country, that there is a stonker of fish. You'd be astonished to run into that. But yeah, obviously the Kings is the Kings. It's like far out. This is the place of 40, 50 kilo ones, isn't it? We'll get some good feeds off of that, Kieran.
Yeah.
Gonna be happy with that.
Yep, straight to the smoker, and that'll be me set for Christmas.
What have you been busy eating, Ray?
A bit of Nautilus. I don't know if we're allowed to eat them, but it tastes good.
Oh yeah, just absolutely wrapped, eh? One end of the country to the other now on the program, isn't it?
Yeah, fueling the Three Kings, top to bottom, but they're pretty uncommon in both places, man.
Yeah.
Those long flowing locks of yours, mate. Gold a lot. Snapper attracting.
Like a little lure flicking out the side of my wetsuit or something.
It's been a long and memorable day on the water, but with a mammoth steam ahead to get back to the mainland, the team are just about ready to call it quits.
Yeah. 6 o'clock. It's 10 past now.
Oh, isn't that in, is it?
Yeah.
That is everyone except Nat, who's been biding his time patiently in hope of a giant kingfish turning up.
I reckon there were a couple over 58. Woo! Yeah? Those big ones that he saw. Yeah?
And as luck would have it, with the light beginning to fade, he finally gets his wish. The fish powers down into deeper water, dragging the first float with it as if it's nothing at all. It's a back and forth tug of war between Nat and the fish, with both floats sporadically appearing, then disappearing.
So Nat's just called out fish on. It's last dive of the day. It's always the way. We don't really know what he's got, but hey, he's got the record. He's not going to pull the trigger on anything small.
So Nat shot a big kingfish and it's dragged the float down. He's just trying to find it at the moment, get it under control.
Look how far
Down under the boat there. That's
It's a good fish.
it's his float.
Okay, so it's got the first float down, which you saw Tim's fish earlier. That was hurt, but that pulled the little float down, never got to the main float. We're at the main float with Nat's fish here now, which means it's got some go.
Nat knows not to rush things though, trusting his gear to do the job, and he allows the big fish enough time to wear itself out before beginning the hard task of raising it up from the depths an arm's length at a time.
Got colour.
Colour, hey.
Got a shark on it. A
Shark
little
on it?
wee one. Just a little wee shark rubbing up against it.
A cheeky f***er. Rochelle just got charged by a shark, just went straight into a little bird.
Bigger than I thought this fish was.
It's a good fish.
Oh, he's got it. Yeah, he's got it. He's in that fin, eh? Yeah. You got him? Big fish?
Not a rat.
Oh, they're sounding happy. Holy smoke. They're excited. Here's another wee pop up. Oh! Nice. He's dark, eh? Man, he's dark. Oh, worth going for that last dive, eh? Last drift through, and that was like, one more, come on. That was a monster. What are you packing, Nat?
45.
45. Woo! Wow. Takes the cake for the day then. Man. Wow. Nice. Pretty much, Jay.
Nice work.
Oh, that definitely ticks the old kingy box, eh? A couple of stonkers. 3 nice fish, it's bloody good. Don't know if there's any point coming here again tomorrow, eh? Catch Rick Van Diemen.
Yeah.
I've got 3 big kingies, we don't want to be greedy.
No,
What am I thinking to me?
Yeah, sorry, mate.
One of the big ones.
4 big kingies, right, eh? Sorry, Dre.
It's certainly been a day none of us will forget in a hurry. And with relatively sedate seas, we're able to chew up the miles back to Cape Reinga with little fuss. But there's still one last task that'll require a sharp mind and body, and that's getting the boats back through the surf without incident.
Yeah, last drum of the day. Gotta get the boats out.
Like you'll pull it out of the sand with the winch, and then as soon as it's popped out, I'll reverse. Yeah.
You done a few of these in your time there, Timmy?
Oh, not for a while, not since out of the Chathams. We had a few stucks out there from time to time, so yeah, it's been a while.
As the saying goes, many hands make light work, and it's a fairly pain-free process in the end. There's an old adage in the world of fishing, don't say it till you weigh it, and that's especially true for bigger fish. They can fluctuate in weight greatly depending on whether they've been eating well or not.
Oh, time for the final weigh up.
Do you want first then?
Yep.
38 mine.
Yes!
Oh, 40.7, man.
Nice.
Cracked the 40.
Well done.
31 kilos is the biggest before that, so man, beats
This is pretty spot on.
yeah, beats the Hunters Club record from before that, doesn't it? So man,
Good on you, mate.
about to be broken though.
You deserve a mower.
Righto, so yeah, big. This beast, oh, yeah, you can tell quite a bit of difference in weight there.
What was the guess in the water? 45?
45 in the water.
You can definitely feel a difference in weight. Oh! Man, boys aren't bad with their weights, eh? What were they saying? They were saying 40 and 45 and bang on.
What a way to round out an epic day, with Nat's fish falling just 5 kilos shy of his world record from the year prior. It's certainly going to be a tough fish to top for our next kingy spearfishing mission.
Yeah, pretty successful day yesterday, so yeah, not as much panic in camp today. We're not going to head right out the Kings again. If we hadn't ticked that box, we would be, but got to fill up these fish, get them on ice, and should be all good. Flexi right at the tip.
There's a tag, a research tag in this fish.
So has the piece come off it that's got the info, or has that got the info there?
Well, we're going to see in a second as I cut it how long they've been away and how much they've grown.
I feel like it's a thump of a fish, eh? It'll be interesting to see how many years it's taken for it to grow that big.
It's got a little stainless steel head on it.
Oh yeah?
It just lodges in under the skin there.
Got the number there?
Yeah, it has.
Number...
Here's the first couple of letters, but what they'll do is they'll put it under a microscope.
That's cool.
So it's a New Zealand tag anyway, because it starts with G. Hopefully we'll be able to get some numbers out of it.
With the 4 massive kingfish dealt to and on ice, the remainder of the day is spent a bit closer to home, in search of a few giant packhorse crayfish that lurk in and around the kelpie ledges of North Cape. Packhorse crays are the world's largest rock lobster and grow a whole lot larger than red crayfish, with specimens recorded upwards of 20 kilos, although this guy would probably be closer to the 4 kilo mark. They also tend to be a bit more aggressive than their smaller cousins the reds, and can sometimes be seen sitting perched on the exposed top of rocky outcrops, like a big bull tar, surveying the country below.
Nice packhorse. Ah, right.
Oh, he's giving the old hand massage. Oh.
With a few nice packies on board, Tim tries to round out the trip by adding a bit more variety with a couple more tasty specimens.
Johnny! Yeah, perfect weed edge there. Perfect spot for one. The current's coming onto it. There's been bait fish everywhere. 16 metres, about a minute and a half.
Nice one, mate.
Cool.
That's what we want. Good eater, another species to the wrist.
Yeah, mate. There's bound to be another one there. Nice Johnny, just coming nicely.
Nice one, bro. You?
Oh, good.
Oh, bro, almost on the bullseye.
Yeah, that's the one, the old spot. It's almost like a target, the poor buggers. Yeah, got another Johnny on that weed edge. I just went down, sat on the bottom, and he came ghosting in from the distance, turned right broadside on, right close, and yeah. Right next to his little spot. You happy with that?
Nice grab, mate. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Got to go back in that, eh?
Yeah, a bit of room back there.
Yeah, it's well back in a crack. I didn't think I'd be able to get him, but it's worth a shot.
Nicely done.
It's fair to say the far north has delivered on all fronts, and this stunning part of the country certainly lived up to its reputation as an adventurer's paradise. We'd like to say a special thank you to the ancestral guardians and the kaitiaki of the far north, the Ngāti Kuriiwi, for allowing us to experience their slice of paradise.
It's Friday the 13th and the full moon setting in the pre-dawn sky is quite fitting, as this week the Seas Spearo team are on the hunt for monsters. But their quest to slay a beast first involves heading as far north as the road will take them, all the way to the very tip of New Zealand, which will be the staging point for a complex 3-boat mission to Manawatafi, the Three Kings Islands.
Right, well, we're up pretty early this morning in the dark, driven a couple of hours to the very northern tip of New Zealand, and yeah, we're on our way out to the Kings. Yeah, we come up to the Kings a couple of years ago with another program we're involved in, the Hunters Club, and yeah, shot at a couple of absolute stonkers. So I shot one 40.5 kilos, big kingfish, and Nat shot one 45.5. So we're going to be doing well to beat that today. If we're going to be up in sort of world record territory. This is the place for them. Nat that's with us got the world record, so yeah, it is beatable. I'm sure it'd be savage if it's one of us boys that gets it, not him, but yeah, Rochelle, who's on the trip as well, she's also got the women's world record from up here, so it does bode well for the trip, but yeah, most of us boys were just happy taking home a bit of a feed. If we can get a fish over 30 kilos, I'm going to be pretty stoked to take some back to the family. Yeah, and just have a good time. We do have the chance of getting something really cool, so we'll just see what happens.
As always, we've assembled a crack group of Spearos for this epic undertaking, so let's meet the team.
Hey, so I'm Nat Davey. I've been a commercial fisherman. Sort of did that for 20 odd years and got into the spearfishing side of things. And decided that it was really cool to see what was actually under the water than standing on a boat the whole time and looking into the water catching fish.
My name's Dwayne Herbert. I'm a diver by trade, so I live down the bottom of New Zealand and dive for urchins and abalone, or paua and kinna as we call them in New Zealand.
I'm Rochelle Potter and I live in the far north of New Zealand. I've been spearfishing for about 10 years and I do it mostly for recreation rather than competition, a little bit of competition, and I really like chasing big fish.
I'm Kieran Andrews. I've been surfing and sailing and spending time in the water and spearfishing for as long as I can remember, really.
I'm Sam Wild. I'm a underwater cameraman, a graduate in marine biology and a Spearo addict.
Yeah, I'm Tim Barnett. That was a good start, wasn't it?